All rise.
Will the court officer please call the hearing?
The special session marking the formal opening of the Judicial Year 2024 is now open. La session spéciale de
The special session of the International Criminal Court, marking the official beginning of the 2024 Judicial Year, is now open.
Thank you. Dear fellow judges of the court, Your Excellencies, honorable presidents of Supreme Courts and other senior guest judges from national, international and regional jurisdictions, Your Excellency, Madam Vice President of the Assembly of State Parties, Mr. Prosecutor, Madam Deputy Prosecutor, Mr. Deputy Prosecutor, Mr. Registrar, Madam President of the ICC Bar Association, Excellencies, distinguished representatives of states and civil society. I offer you all a warm welcome to the opening of the Judicial Year 2024 at the International Criminal Court. I am truly grateful to see so many national jurisdictions and other prominent courts represented. The company of such esteemed colleagues reassures us and reminds us that the ICC is not alone in its mission. Instead, the court is a part of a global network of jurisdictions united by a common cause, that of justice. This is my last time presiding over the opening of the Judicial Year. On the 10th of March, I will complete my 9 years at the court. The first 6 years, I focused 100% on judicial work. I was just a judge. Once I was elected president, the nature of my work changed quite dramatically. Naturally, I continued to perform my functions as judge of the appeals chamber, but at the same time, I took on a wide variety of functions related to the court's administration and management, as well as external relations. I announced at the beginning of my term that one of the priorities would be to safeguard the court's independence, and it has remained an important theme for me these 3 years. I have become fond of this annual ceremonial hearing precisely because it underlines that the ICC is an independent and impartial judicial institution. As such, it is also a special kind of international organization which is separate from states. The need to protect the court's independence is very real. This has sadly become very obvious during my term as president, as we have faced various attacks aimed at influencing the court's actions. I became president at a time when the previous ICC prosecutor was still the subject of unacceptable coercive measures imposed by the United States. Fortunately, these were withdrawn soon thereafter. However, the court has since become the target of new attacks. The authorities of the Russian Federation have initiated criminal proceedings against 6 ICC judges and the prosecutor on account of our actions in our official capacity of the court. This is deeply unacceptable attack on the judicial independence at the international level. The court has also been the target of very serious cyber attacks carried out with the objective of espionage. There was also an attempt to infiltrate a spy, the court. I am sure attacks on the ICC will continue. There will always be resistance to the court's mandate from someone, somewhere, but we will remain independent. We cannot compromise the rule of law. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, 2023 was an extremely intense year for the ICC, both as regards judicial proceedings as well as investigations and reparations. The heavy workload will continue in 2024 as well. We have a lot of activity in all judicial divisions, including 3 ongoing trials. What you would hope to see, of course, is more suspects in custody. I am worried about the fact that there have been no new arrests in a long time. There are public arrest warrants pending against 15 individuals and possibly a number of other warrants under seal. We need states to step up their efforts to execute the outstanding arrest warrants. Otherwise, we risk the ICC looking like a paper tiger. And we risk heavily empty courtrooms down the line, which would be fine if it were because there is no more impunity or because crimes under international law are no longer being committed. Sadly, it is not the case. The unthinkable suffering of civilians in the numerous conflicts on many continents cannot but torment our minds. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, next we shall hear remarks from the prosecutor of the ICC, and after him the president of the ICC Bar Association, who represents the professional voice of independent counsel for the defense and for the victims. Impartiality and the equality of arms are cornerstones of the rule of law. And it is with good reason that we give equal footing at the solemn hearing to the prosecutor and the defense alike. However, before we proceed further, we have the chance to enjoy a cultural performance which has been very kindly arranged for this occasion by the Embassy of the United Republic of Tanzania. I invite Mama's Cultural Group to take the floor. Yeah.
Tuaveto moyangma, tuaveto kwila. Awana ngendu kaya kun tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto moyangma, tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto moyangma, tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto modada, tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto moyangma, tuaveto kwila. Tuaveto kwila.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful performance. And now I give the floor to the prosecutor of the ICC, Mr. Karim Khan. Please have the floor.
Mr. President, Your Honours, judges of the ICC, newly elected judges of the ICC, deputy prosecutors who have provided so much continuous advice and counsel and support to me, Mr. Registrar, distinguished President of the ICCBA, who so effectively and so importantly represents the interests of defence counsel and legal representatives of the victims, representatives of the Assembly of State Parties, delegates, representatives of the states, Judge Trentifilova, President of the Kosovo Special Court, and friends, it's a great honour to be able to say a few words at the opening of this judicial year. Openings are, of course, not theatre. They have a purpose. It's always apt to pause and reflect when a new judicial year opens, like the new year that we celebrated, that we were fortunate to celebrate on the 1st of January, a time to pause and reflect, to strain our sinews, to hope and pray and plan to do better. New Year's full of hope, of expectation and of promise. And yet, at the same time, we are faced with an ugly reality that for too many of God's children, for too many of the most vulnerable and marginalized around the world, the new year that they welcomed in was not full of promise and hope. It was a new year of fear, of mourning, of terror. And that's why we have an international criminal court. Because those tears that are shed, the mourning that goes on, the uncertainty that so many of our brothers and sisters around the world live in as we speak here in this magnificent courtroom, in our robes, is what really should galvanize us to do better. More now, perhaps as much as ever, the law has to be seen as an indispensable part of civilization, not an appendage or an adornment, because we see ever greater suffering of people around the world. We see that in Palestine, in Gaza and the West Bank, in Ukraine, in Darfur, what's happening in Sudan, the plight of the Rohingya. Around the world, we see this increasing, it seems, number of people that would have no hope, but yet, despite the scars they face, the mourning that they are in, they believe that the international structures will somehow defy the odds, will somehow manage to put a spotlight on what they also require, which is accountability and justice. They fear, unfortunately, fear. They are in fear. There's a feeling of fury and frustration that is palpable in victim communities around the world. I just came back from meeting victims in Darfur, from Darfur in the United Kingdom, and you see them in every community. Fear because of what they've endured, fear of what the next moment will bring, and fury and frustration because how is it that in a world of science, in a world of promise, in a world of technology, in a world of commitments, so many feel unprotected, so many feel invisible, so many feel voiceless. And I think, therefore, it's only right, as we open this new judicial year, to focus on our collective obligation to service. Every actor, every participant in the courtroom, with different roles and different responsibilities, but united to serve justice. And the fact that we have so many judges from national and regional institutions, we have the former registrar of the ICC, we have so many state representatives. This is a break in the clouds, a sliver of hope that united together we can move the dial away from a climate of impunity, a climate of terror and fear and heartbreak and sadness and needless bloodshed, towards greater justice. Last year was an extremely busy year for the Office of the Prosecutor. We hope, inshallah, this year will be busier still. We're trying to improve, trying to innovate, learn from what we do every day, learn from the judges in terms of the jurisprudence, areas how we can improve our understanding of the law and the delivery of victims and to justice. And it's been a tremendously challenging year, as the President has mentioned. The cyber attack that the court endured was met with a fantastic response, if I may say so, led by the registrar and under his leadership, with the support of states and, of course, the different organs of the court working together. We faced that with resolute commitment. And similarly, as the President said, judges of the ICC faced warrants of arrest and other elected officials with focus and with an unwavering commitment to discharge their mandates and our collective and individual mandates without being swayed by any extraneous factors. And I think as we march forward, Mr. President, I would also like to thank you very sincerely. A new year also brings new opportunities, welcoming new judges, and saying goodbye shortly to other judges who have served with distinction over the last 9 years, and to yourself. So thank you so much for your service to the court, to justice as President. Thank you for your patience with me. We've always had very candid discussions in terms of the one court principle. And I wish you the very best in what lies ahead. Of course, you have some time to go, but it's only right on this occasion, I take the opportunity to thank you for your service to all of the judges of the court, for all states. It's a time to renew our commitment. Let us do better together, because so many people around the world look to this court, not the individuals, look to this court, look to this institution, look to the Rome Statute to vindicate rights when they feel exposed to the awful elements that they are enduring as we speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor, also for the nice word addressed to outgoing judges. And now I invite the President of the ICC Bar Association, Madame Marie-Hélène Poulot, to make remarks. You have the floor.
Monsieur le Président de la Cour.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President of the Assembly of States Parties, Honorable Judges, Mr. Prosecutor, Mr. Registrar, Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, I'm honored to have this opportunity to speak before you once again this year on behalf of external counsels representing defense and victims. As you know, the last year has been of major importance for external counsel, with the adoption of the new legal aid policy, which has been long awaited. Thanks to the support from states parties and the registry, council and their teams, we hope, will be able, after a transitional phase, to enjoy greater support as they carry out their work, and will also enjoy improved working conditions. This is a crucial step for a greater recognition of the importance of the role played by defense counsel and legal representatives of victims. And this step comes at the right time, be it during the initial phase of proceedings or implementation of reparations. Between arrest and release, the work of external counsel guarantees the fairness of proceedings and ensures the influence of the court in the international judicial landscape. The work of international justice, that is the very raison d'etre of this court, could not be done without the commitment and the passion of counsel and their teams. Whether we represent victims or accused, we all share a deep commitment to the service of justice.
Your Honors, Excellencies, as we start this new year, we can't escape the fact that conflict are rife and that lives continue to be devastated by atrocities around the globe. In a world that may seem more uncertain and dangerous with each passing day, justice must remain our guiding light. And for the rule of law to thrive, we need fearless lawyers. We need advocates who will represent victims with heart and soul. Lawyers who will defend their clients tooth and nail, independent of prejudice and public opinion. We need lawyers who are not afraid to do the right thing, even when it's unpopular, controversial, or difficult. ICC external counsel and their teams are made of that cloth, and the ICCBA is proud to represent them and advocate for them. In the year ahead, I hope that we can achieve greater understanding of one another's role before the court and of the challenges we encounter along the way. Whether we are judges, prosecutors, registry officials, or external counsel, we are joined in the long-term effort to realize justice and a better world for future generations. It is my hope that going forward, we can establish a better dialogue and continue to build on our common values while renewing our collective commitment to the foundational values of the rule of law, fair trial proceedings, and equality of arms. And of course, I cannot conclude without thanking you, Mr. President Hofmanski, thanking the vice presidents of the court and all the departing judge for your service of the last 9 years. Without you, justice cannot be done, and we are so grateful for all the work that you have done with us along the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Pro. The next speaker is Mr. Osvaldo Zavala-Hilaire, the Registrar of the ICC. While the Registrar himself does usually not appears in the courtroom, the staff of the Registry, as a neutral organ of the ICC, performs a multitude of functions that are absolutely essential for proceedings to take place. As such, it is very appropriate that we hear a few reflections from the Registrar on this occasion. Mr. Registrar, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Mr. President of the Court and Vice President, Madam Vice Presidency of the Assembly of States Parties, Your Honours, Mr. Prosecutor, Deputy Prosecutors, Madam President of the ICC Bar Association, Honourable Judge of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues from the Court. It is a great honour to address you today in the opening of the 2024 Judicial Year. The inauguration of a new Judicial Year is always a valuable opportunity to reflect on the year behind us, and more importantly, to look forward to the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead. However, we could not do that without giving proper credit to those who have given us so much, and sometimes paid a very steep price for it, to this institution and its cause. President Hovmansky, as your mandate with the Court will come to an end soon, allow me to thank you wholeheartedly for your great leadership, for your determination and your commitment, as well as for your friendship and support in good times and in challenging times. We will miss you dearly. I would also like to pay tribute to the 5 other judges whose mandate will come to an end soon. Judge Perrin de Brichambeau, Judge Mindua, Judge Schmidt, Judge Kovac, Judge Chung. Your service and commitment to this court will continue to resonate in our courtrooms and throughout the jurisprudence of the ICC. We are in your debt. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the year 2023 marked a substantial level of activity in the court's history. With simultaneous trials conducted throughout the year, we conducted 123 public court sessions with over 16,500 victims participating in ongoing proceedings. Additionally, we supported approximately 70 witnesses, facilitating their testimonies both in person and via video link. In conjunction with the Trust Fund for Victims, the Court has been actively engaged in reparative work in the largest cases encountered so far: the Al Mahdi case, the Ntaganda case, the Onwen case, the Lubanga case, and finally, the Katanga case, for which the closing ceremony is scheduled for February. Looking forward to the year ahead, we find ourselves in the midst of a paradigm shift. We're witnessing a period where the demands for justice test the capacities of the international community to adequately address them. The Court's operational landscape is also undergoing drastic expansion, reaching across 5 continents. Simultaneously, we are confronted with unprecedented security challenges that threaten the very essence of our institution. Notably, arrest warrants have been issued against our prosecutor and 6 judges, including the President of the Court, for the first time in history. Additionally, the Court was subject to an unprecedented cyber attack a few months ago, the consequences of which were still with us today and will be for the foreseeable future. Security serves as a crucial precondition for the success of our operations, while also forming the foundation for judicial and prosecutorial independence, therefore placing it at the heart of the Court's legitimacy. Lack of security, or the perception of insecurity, directly impacts on the perceived legitimacy of our institution, currently threatened by coercive measures implemented against the Court and its officials. This new environment is pushing us, the Court, to change and to look into re-evaluating existing risks and seriously examining new ones. Specifically, certain operational needs have become immediate and urgent actions must be taken now. For 2024, it is essential to strengthen and increase the number of functions in the area of judicial cooperation in order to empower the decisions and execution of orders issued by the judges. In particular, arrest plays now more than ever a crucial and vital role in the court's life cycle, and without this, the court cannot fulfill its mandate. At the same time, we need to enhance the court's security framework to safeguard confidential information, such as the identity of victims and witnesses, as well as to protect our officials, personnel, counsel, and officers, thus ensuring the integrity of our independent judicial mandate. It is therefore our responsibility to collectively and cohesively reinforce not only this court, but our Rome Statute system, setting new and higher aspirations for progress in order to rise to meet to these demands of justice. Only through such collaborative efforts can we build on the progress made thus far, positioning the court to effectively and securely deliver on its mandate responsibly, efficiently, and credibly. As we embark in a new year, I am committed as your registrar to continue to work with all of you in the pursuit of these objectives. I would like to take this opportunity to thank states parties, to thank the staff and our personnel, to thank counsel and their teams, to thank civil society organizations, to thank our partners and our stakeholders for the trust, for the support, and for the commitment that have enabled us to fulfill the mandate of this organization. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the Registrar for his remarks. I will now invite Mama's Cultural Group to perform for us for the second time. Please.
Come on, yeah.
would like to thank ladies for enriching today's ceremony. And once more, I thank the Embassy of Tanzania for offering of this lovely performance today. And now, I have the great pleasure to introduce today's guest of honor and the keynote speaker, Lady Justice Stella Isinbakon Anukam, Judge of the African Court of Human Rights and Human and People Rights. We are happy that you are with us, Madam. Judge Anukam is a national of Nigeria, and she has over 33 years of professional legal experience in a wide variety of functions. She was elected Judge of the African Court of Human and People's Rights in July 2018 for a term of 6 years. Justice Anukam is the recipient of many outstanding honors and awards such as Integrity-Driven Woman in Public Service, Outstanding Legal Advisor in the Federation, the Corporate Amazing Woman of Excellence Award. She is the Director of Special Program of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies and the former Director of the International and Comparative Law Department in the Federal Ministry of Justice of Nigeria. I believe I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that we are very much looking forward to hear your keynote speech. Judge Anukam, you have the floor.
Hello. It's on? Okay. Thank you for that introduction, the Honorable President of the International Criminal Court. I want to begin by apologizing for coming so late. I had issues with flight from Africa to this part of the world. I'll go straight to deliver the paper, the keynote address now. Honorable Pio Homaski, President of the International Criminal Court, Honorable Judges of the International Criminal Court, the Prosecutor of the Court, the Registrar, the President of the ICC Bar Association, President and Senior Judges of International, Regional, and National Courts here present, members of the Diplomatic Corps accredited to the Netherlands here present. Permit me to stand on the already established protocol. It is with great pleasure, appreciation, and honor that I stand before you today to address this august audience on behalf of the Judge President of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, Honorable Lady Justice Imani Daoud Aboud, who unfortunately, and for reasons beyond her control, is unable to attend this very important event. That notwithstanding, please accept warm greetings from Madam President of the Court, all the 11 judges of the Court, the Registrar of the Court, as well as the staff of the African Court on Human and People's Rights, with seat in Arusha, Tanzania, East Africa. When we got the invitation, we were indeed very excited. And we had series of topics to select from for the purpose of the keynote address. But after due consideration, we selected one, which is the role of judicial institutions in pursuing sustainable peace, security, and development. You all will agree with me that our world, the world, is in desperate need of peace and security in the times that we are in now. Honorable President and distinguished participants, just over a month ago, precisely on the 10th of December 2023, the whole world mobilized to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted in 1948. The year 2023 also marked the 25th anniversary of the adoption of the Rome Statute of the ICC. Equally 60 years of the adoption of the Charter of the Organization of African Unity, and 10 years of the adoption of the Africa's Agenda 2063. A common feature linking these instruments is the recognition of the importance of peace, security, and development as not only mutually reinforcing, but interdependent and a sine qua non for a life of dignity. Born out of the ashes of the World War II, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights reminds us that disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind, and that it is essential, if man is not to be compelled to have recourse as a last resort to rebellion against tyranny and oppression, the human rights should be protected by the rule of law. Article 28 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights entitles everyone to a social and international order in which the rights and freedoms set forth in the Declaration are fully realized. Inspired by the Declaration and other instruments of the United Nations, the quest for independence and self-determination in Africa and around the world gained momentum. The preamble of the Organization of African Unity Charter notes that African leaders were persuaded that the Charter of the United Nations and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights provide a solid foundation for peaceful and positive cooperation among states. They were also conscious of the fact that freedom, equality, justice, and dignity are essential objectives for the achievement of legitimate aspirations of the African people. The leaders were further convinced that in order to translate this determination into a dynamic force in the course of human progress, conditions for peace and security must be established and maintained. For its part, the Agenda 2063 recapitulates the conviction of the African people expressed in the Organization of the African Union Charter. The 7 aspirations of Agenda 2063 are finely kitted by a thread that recognizes the intrinsic relationship between human rights, peace and security, and development. I beg to say that without democracy and peace, development is not possible. And without development, peace is not durable. Honorable President, distinguished participants, the intrinsic relationship between peace, security, and development is therefore undisputed. It is recognized and even promoted universally, including through declarations, statements, and other forms of pronouncement. Goal 16 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals seek to promote peace and inclusive societies for sustainable development, and to provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. To achieve this, every stakeholder must be facilitated to make their contribution. Achieving sustainable peace, security, and development is therefore a collective responsibility. The judiciary has an even greater responsibility, as judicial institutions can and do play a key role as guarantors of the Constitution and international commitments undertaken by states. Judicial institutions are also a crucial partner in promoting and upholding the rule of law and in ensuring, through their judgments and declaration, a fair balance between peace, security, and development. History teaches us that an independent judiciary is indispensable for the socio-economic and political development of any community. Judges are called upon, therefore, to administer justice on a wide range of issues, touching, among other issues, security, peace, and development. And the manner in which their judgments are perceived may determine the socio-economic and even political stability of any country. It is therefore important for judicial institutions at all levels to instill a sense of confidence in the populace so that the latter can embrace their judgments. Where the people trust the judiciary as a neutral arbiter, there is most likely going to be social cohesion. Citizens are more likely to use the courts to ventilate their grievances and vindicate their rights. They are more likely to use the courts to challenge government excesses and possible abuse of power. The government, on the other hand, will be more likely to govern based on the rule of law, respect for human rights, and fundamental freedom, and in the interests of the people. An independent judiciary, therefore, serves as a check on the possible excesses of the executive and other decision or policy makers to ensure they govern based on the rule of law and respect of human rights. In October 2023, the United Nations and the African Union jointly organized a high-level meeting at Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, on the theme, and I quote, "The nexus between the right to development, human rights, and peace." The meeting restated that there can be no development without human rights, no peace without development, and no peace without human rights. We do not need to go too far. All the hotspots today around the world are a result of real or perceived violation of the rule of law, or a violation or perceived violation of human rights or people's rights. Judicial institutions can, have, and should be able to establish through their pronouncement and decision a system where peace, security, the rule of law, and respect for human rights and development can flourish. Honorable President and dear participants, while regional human rights courts, such as the African Court on Human and People's Rights, may not have direct role in the persuasion to sustainable peace, security, and development, their role in protecting human rights can indirectly contribute to the overall stability and development of the world. Same is applicable to the International Criminal Court. Permit me at this junction to refer to some of the decisions of the African Court and the International Criminal Court in this regard. The jurisprudence of the African Court deals with a wide range of issues aimed at dealing with socio-economic and political challenges confronting the African continent. The court has so far issued orders for provisional measures and delivered judgments aimed at ensuring stability and peace that can guarantee a conducive environment for development. I want to refer, for instance, to our 2014 judgment in the matter of Action pour la protection des droits de l'homme, APDH versus the Republic of Côte d'Ivoire. The court found in that case that the composition of the electoral body was not in a manner that would guarantee confidence, free and fair election. The court therefore ordered the respondent state to amend its electoral law and reconstitute the electoral body accordingly. The decision of the court was complied with, and the respondent state amended its electoral law and reconstituted its electoral body. And that diffused a very tense political atmosphere preceding the presidential elections in that country. Through the judgment of the court, therefore, the potential threat to security and peace in that country was averted, paving the way for the elections to be held peacefully. A stable and peaceful environment, you agree with me, is a recipe for development. We have similar decisions that have been rendered in the same manner in respect of Benin. In the application XYZ versus the Republic of Benin, the court held that the respondent state has violated the rights of citizens to participate freely in the government of their country, as provided for in Article 13, Sub 1 of the African Charter. Since the composition of its electoral body, COS LEPI, does not provide guarantees of independence and impartiality as required by Article 17, Sub 1 of the African Charter on Democracy, Elections, and Governance, and Article 3 of the Economic Community of West African States Protocol on Democracy. Equally, in March 2011, at the height of the civil war in Libya, the court was seized with an application by the African Commission on Human and People's Rights against the great socialist people, Libyan Arab Jamahiriya, now the state of Libya. The applicant alleged serious and massive violation of human rights by the government of Libya. Given the nature of the allegations and the circumstances prevailing in that country as at that time, the court considered that prima facie, the allegation should be examined, and using its power, the power of the court under Articles 27.2 of the Court Protocol, it established so motu to adopt provisional measures to avoid irreparable harm being caused to the potential victims. This was important because the alleged violations were driven by the ongoing conflicts in that country that had resulted in alleged indiscriminate killings, imprisonment, torture, and so on. In the court's order, the court painted a picture of the situation where there's an imminent risk of life, loss of life, of human life, and in view of the ongoing conflict in Libya, that made it difficult to serve the application timeously on the respondent, and to arrange a public hearing accordingly, the court decided to make an order for provisional measures without written pleadings or oral hearing. Honorable President, dear participants, the United Nations, in recognizing the importance of an independent judicial institution, established the International Court of Justice, which is responsible for settling, in accordance with international law, legal disputes submitted to it by states, and to give advisory opinions on legal questions referred to it by authorized United Nations organs and specialized agencies. This is in further recognition of the importance of judicial institutions in both maintaining peace and security, and the court as a tool of the rule of law. In addition, the United Nations has supported the creation of tribunals in nation post-conflict situations to prosecute those crimes that are particularly heinous to the international community. For instance, the crime of genocide, which was investigated in the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. Furthermore, the role of the International Criminal Court, where we are today, cannot be overemphasized. The court is a permanent and international court established to investigate, prosecute, and try individuals accused of committing the most serious crime of concern to the international community as a whole. The ICC prosecutes the perpetrators of heinous crimes such as war crimes, genocide, crimes against humanity, and the crime of aggression, and therefore provides remedy to victims. By holding the perpetrators accountable, it ensures that justice is served and prevents further crimes from occurring, hence contributing to sustainable peace, security, and development. The International Criminal Court also contributes to the creation and reinforcement of global norms against impunity for the most serious crime. This, in turn, facilitates shaping a shared understanding of acceptable behavior in the international community, hence contributing to a more stable and secured world. For instance, this can be seen in the case of the prosecutor versus Thomas Lubanga Diallo, who was found guilty by this great court, the ICC, on the 14th of March 2012, of the war crimes of enlisting and conscripting children under the age of 15 years and using them to participate actively in hostilities, child soldiers. He was sentenced on the 10th of July 2012 to a total of 14 years of imprisonment. On the 15th of March 2020, Thomas Lubanga Inyelo was released after having served 14 years of imprisonment. The reparation proceedings for victims started on the 7th of August 2012. The conviction serves as a lesson of accountability to other individuals. It shows that despite your position as a public figure, you can be held accountable for the grave crimes you commit. Equally instructive is the case of the prosecutor versus Bosco Tangada. Mr. Ntanganda, a former deputy chief of staff and commander of operations of the Forces Patriotiques pour la Libération du Congo, FBLC, was arrested and charged with 13 counts of war crimes and 5 counts of crimes against humanity allegedly committed between the period of 2002 and 2003 in the Turi district of the Democratic Republic of Congo. On the 7th of November 2019, Bosco Ntaganda was sentenced to a total of 30 years imprisonment. The ICC appeal chambers confirmed the conviction and the sentence on the 30th of March 2021. On the 14th of December 2022, Mr. Ntaganda was transferred to the Kingdom of Belgium to serve his sentence of imprisonment at the Lacy-on-Hout prison. This laudable and landmark judgment by the ICC, ladies and gentlemen, should and will serve as a deterrent to those that are power-drunk when in power and invariably contribute to sustainable peace, security, and development. As I conclude, honorable judges, your excellencies, and distinguished audience, I wish to reiterate that in the absence of peace and security, we cannot develop. Without development, our world cannot have enduring peace, as conflicts arise in part due to development failures. Peace and development are two sides of the same coin. Peace, stability, and prevention of violent conflicts are inherently tied to sustainable development. Success today depends not just on preventing conflicts in the traditional sense, but on finding ways of fighting poverty, inequality, and deepening inclusion. The judiciary is at the center of this process. The strengthening of the judicial institutions play a key role in the restoration and consolidation of peace by facilitating the maintenance of law and order and fostering the peaceful resolution of disputes. A stable and accountable justice system, whether traditional or otherwise, can inspire trust and confidence among stakeholders through integrity, fairness, and accessibility, laying a firm foundation for sustainable peace, security, and development to grow. I thank you most sincerely for your kind attention. Taka Ganwea, merci beaucoup, obrigado, asante sana. Thank you very much.
Justice Anukam, thank you very much for your insightful remarks. I particularly appreciate the eloquent manner in which you drew the attention, a connection between peace, security, development, and the rule of law. Indeed, these essential values and goals for all humankind are closely interconnected. And I could not agree more with you that both the African Court of Human and People's Rights as well as the ICC make important contribution towards these objectives to their judicial work. Thank you again, and please take our warmest greetings back to the President of the Court as well as you colleagues. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived to the end of this solemn hearing. In a moment, we will have a chance for more informal discussion in the lobby of the court with coffee and tea. After that, the judges of the ICC and the visiting judges from national, regional, and international jurisdictions will continue to the judicial seminar of the ICC, which in this year is titled Securing Meaningful Justice for Victims, Models and Experiences. At this event, we will be comparing practices of different forms of reparations, as well as the position of victims in criminal proceeding. With this seminar, we wish to facilitate the flow of ideas and good practices across jurisdictions, and we hope to promote a victim-sensitive approach to justice for the gravest crimes. While the seminar is a closed event, a public report will be published in due course. Once more, thank you all for joining us at this symbolic event and thereby expressing your commitment to independent and impartial international criminal justice. I hereby declare the Judicial Year 2024 of the International Criminal Court opened. The hearing is concluded.
All rise.